In this video, we will show you how to replace your rear upper shock mount on this Chevy Malibu. This is part of your rear suspension located inside of your rear wheel well. A quick note, you are removing the entire rear shock to do this job. If it's old and needs to be replaced, now's a perfect time to do so. When you do it, make sure you do it as a pair. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing you need to do is safely raise and support the rear of the vehicle so the wheel's off the ground. Once you've done so, continue on to removing all 5 of your 22mm lug nuts and then the wheel. The next thing we'll have to do is apply a light amount of pressure underneath your rear lower control arm. While holding pressure under that area, let's continue on to removing the lower mounting bolt that holds the lower shock to your rear knuckle. You'll find this is held in place with a 21mm headed mounting bolt and a 21mm mounting nut. The nut is on the outboard side here. We'll hold that with a wrench. Making our way back up into the wheel well here, we'll make sure we're holding onto the rear shock. Continue on to removing your 2 18mm headed bolts that hold the shock mount to the body of the vehicle. Let's get this over to the bench. Over on the bench, we can start separating these two. We'll be using locking pliers to hold the shaft right up along this area. Inside this top port of the mount is where you're going to find that 15mm nut. As I mentioned, ours is pretty rotted inside there. I'm gonna have to pick that out and we'll use a 15mm. You may have to adjust your locking pliers if you find the shock shaft spins. There it is, friend. Now it's time to install the rear mount. We'll slide this onto the shaft of the rear shock. Continue on with your mounting nut. Now we can continue tightening this mounting nut. Once you have it tight, torque it to 15 foot-pounds. To tighten this 16mm headed mounting nut, you're going to find that the shaft of the rear shock will want to spin. To hold this still, we're going to carefully use some locking pliers once again up along the top area of the shock piston, never down low on the piston. While holding this, let's go ahead and bottom that out and then torque it to 15 foot-pounds. Let's get this in the vehicle. Let's get this shock in here, being careful for our fender. Start aligning it with the body up along the top here. Once you have it in position, we'll continue on with our 2 mounting bolts. If you're going to use anything, use a little bit of blue thread locker, never red, and never use any type of grease. Now let's make our way to where the lower shock connects to your knuckle. As we come down here, you may find that you either have to raise or lower the suspension to get it to align with that shock. Slide the bolt through, start on your 21mm headed mounting nut. Continue on to snugging this mounting bolt, torquing it to 111 foot-pounds. Once you have that torqued, continue tightening it an additional 60 degrees. Let's get this out from under here. Now it's time to snug our two 18mm upper mount bolts. Once you have both of those bottomed out, torque those to 74 foot-pounds. One last thing before we put the wheel on, double check to confirm you tightened and torqued everything as necessary. All right, let's get the wheel on here. Start on all 5 of your 22mm lug nuts. Bottom them out. Get the wheel safely back down on the ground, and then we'll torque each of these lug nuts to 110 foot-pounds. With the wheel back on the ground, we'll be torquing these in a crisscross manner. Torqued. Okay, friend, we've got our vehicle back together. The process for one side of the vehicle is the exact same thing as the other. Once you've done that, go ahead and take your vehicle for a road test, and we always recommend getting yourself a 4-wheel alignment. Aside from that, thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.